Hey everyone, it's Caleb from Brickloaf, and today I'm going to be comparing set 21103 and 10300, the two different DeLorean sets, so let's begin. We start off by looking at the 2013 DeLorean Marty McFly, but what's interesting about this figure is that he also appeared in the 2015 expansion pack to LEGO Dimensions. The pants here are fairly simple, no printing, but the torso is really cool. It has a flannel shirt under the puffy vest, and you can see that the print is both front and back. With the exception of the LEGO Dimensions expansion pack, of course, the torso and head of this minifigure are unique. The head is double-sided, one with a smile and the other with a scared face. This is actually my favorite on the back side because it has a raised eyebrow, a little grimace. I actually prefer these figures that kind of have more emotion on their face because when you put them in the city, it's more than just a smile. You can kind of use them to tell a story, and that's how this Marty McFly face is. Now, looking at the newer Marty McFly figure, you can see here the legs are front and side printed, which is super awesome. You can see the sneakers there. The torso is front and back printed. This time it's a sweatshirt with a red shirt underneath. And the hair is pretty basic, but the head is double-sided as well. This is pretty much exactly what you would expect from a revamp of an old figure. It's got better printing, it's got different faces, different torsos, different legs, so you don't feel like you're just getting the same thing you've already gotten. It's pretty much better than the last version. The head still is double-sided, and you have a smile on one side, and on the other you have more of an angry face. The last one was kind of scared, and this one's angry, so that's an interesting change, but I do like it. Like I said, it is nice to have something different from the standard smile, so it is good to have that grimace on the other side just in case you want to build a different looking scene. Moving on to the 2013 Doc Brown, there's a lot more to say about this figure. Obviously the legs are very plain and they can be found on a whole bunch of figures, but the torso has been used on the Doc Brown from the LEGO Dimensions expansion pack. There were two different ones, one with Marty, one with Doc Brown. Now, the difference between the Doc Brown from that Dimensions is that he uses a different hairstyle. Everything else is the same, but the hair was updated to look a little more realistic. That being said, the head here has been used on three different minifigures, one from a Spider-Man set, I believe it was. That doesn't make the head any less cool because one side is a really cool smile, it's very unique with the wide eyebrows and all the lines in the face, and the other is a wide open stare. We actually had this face on when we had Marty and Doc Brown in the Hogwarts area, tying the cable around the Hogwarts clock tower to try and get ready for a lightning charge to hit the DeLorean, so that was really fun as well. Now, looking at the newer Doc Brown, you can see we have a cooler uniform. It's not his lab coat, but it is different, and it has the shoe print on the front, no side print unfortunately, but the legs and the torso do have a lining up print. And this is the same exact hairpiece that the newer or updated version of Doc Brown had in the Dimensions set, so they reused that here. The head is new and unique. You can see one side has a really cool face with sunglasses, and the other goes back to that open mouth stare, whichever one you want to display it as. I like how they tried to put as much variability in this set as possible between the different styles of DeLorean you can build and the different clothing on the characters and different faces so that you can try and get whichever movie is your favorite, you can try and display it that way. Now, the original set was called the Back to the Future Time Machines, set number 21103, which sold for $34.99 here in the United States. It is part of what is now called the Ideas theme, and you can see here it's very small, it's minifigure scale. The doors open, it rolls. The wheels can be raised and lowered to enter hover mode because you can build this in the three different versions. Inside you have all the little panels like the little time counter there that tells you where you're going, where you are, and you can see all the little details on the outside. You can add and take those away as you build the different versions, but I've chosen obviously the original. It's got the out of time license plate, and you can flip the wheels here and clip them in. Like I said, if you do choose to build the car from the second movie, you can also pop the tires off and replace them with red ones if you do choose to build the one from the third movie. There are no light up features on this one, but you can see the flux capacitor in the back there is actually printed tile. I have the original that misspells the word shield. You could have asked for a replacement. I didn't know this at the time where it spells shield correctly, but I do have the old one before they fixed it. Basically, it just says shield eyes from light like in the movie, but instead of S-H-I-E-L-D, it says S-H-E-I-L-D. And as a little fun fact, the date on the time gauge inside is January 28, 1958, which is the date that the modern LEGO brick was actually filed for a patent. Obviously the build's a little blocky, but it is minifigure size, and I think they do a fantastic job here of getting enough detail in so you can recognize what it is. Now then, obviously when we place them side by side, the newer DeLorean is definitely not minifigure scale. It's supposed to be something you display. It's supposed to be a collector's item, and I think it does a fantastic job. They both look very good for what they are. Obviously one is much more suited for shelves and looking at the detail, and the other is more suited for putting it on your road if you have a city. When we look at the newer DeLorean, you can see here that it comes with a little stand, calling it the Time Machine. It doesn't specifically list that it's a DeLorean, but it says it's from Dr. Brown Enterprises, shows the year, the power, the fuel, and the activation speed, 88 miles per hour. And it has a little area here. It's a little tough to fit both figures. Obviously, like the first set, I chose to build this one according to the first movie, just because it's what you're used to. It's the classic. They did give you the same option with this set to build it in any of the styles from the 3 movies. In fact, if you reach underneath the car, you can pull a little switch which will flip the wheels automatically to hover position if you do choose to build the second car. It was a really cool mechanism. It's something you build right off the bat, and it was really fun to play with. If you do like the hover car, you can definitely use some clear bricks underneath it to make it look like that. The doors do open and close very easily, which I appreciate. They were kind of troublesome on the first build, and you can see the wheel there spins. It doesn't turn the wheels, but it does spin. The seats are obviously just slightly larger than minifigure scale, but we have the flux capacitor in between the 2 seats. It is activated by a button I'll show you in just a minute around the back. You can see the little handle in the center, the handbrake, and there's all the little gauges on the front that show the time, the speed, all that. Now moving along to these sides in the back, you can see there are a lot more details that you just couldn't fit obviously on the smaller set. The back of this car actually looks really great. It's got all the little tubes and wires going everywhere. It's still got that out of time little plate here. This time it's a sticker rather than a tile. And there's the button right there to activate the flux capacitor light. And here's the rod that they use in the first movie to get back to their time period when they run out of electricity. On the other side, you can see a few different details here on the side. I really love the chrome pieces they use so that it doesn't just look like one dull gray vehicle. It does have some character to it. And you can see on the passenger side, by lighting up the flux capacitor, you can see the rest of the little dials and gauges on the front. There is actually quite a lot of space up front, and they did utilize that by storing some extra features that you may want to put with your display. All you have to do is lift the hood up from the back, and you can see inside it stores the hoverboard and the plutonium core. The hoverboard is loosely rolling around inside, but the plutonium core does fit on some studs. The hoverboard is larger than minifigure scale, but it does have some pretty awesome stickers on it. The same can be said for the plutonium core, which has a really cool box that lifts up, and inside you can see what they've got. There are some little tiles in there to look like fusion cores, and plutonium handle with care on this little Mr. Fusion box. And they do fit nicely back into the hood of the car. You can keep them out if you would rather have them side by side with the figures and the car to display, or if you just want to keep them stored inside and maybe use it like a playset feature, that's fine as well. If you are interested in this set, it just came out recently. It's set 10300 and it's selling for about $170 at the LEGO store. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to like and comment down below and subscribe because we have a lot of great videos coming up in the future.